This is a Trimui brick. It's a Linux-based retro handheld doodad, mostly designed to be used for retro gaming, emulation-wise, but it can do some other stuff, including run other software, including one that I've installed using Portmaster. You have to sort of sideload the files into the device and then extract them in Portmaster rather than be able to get them from the Portmaster front end. I'll put a link in the description to this video which will explain how you can do that yourself. It's not very difficult though. I'm now going to boot this up. ChipNomad. It's a chiptune tracker, so it's a way of basically composing chiptune music on the device, and you can make some nice tunes, so why not? It's quite a fun thing to do. So when you fire it up, this is what you're going to see. The screen is showing you a few things. Let's go through it. So first off, it says song in the corner. That's because we're on the song page. The UI has a whole bunch of different pages, and this is the main one that shows the layout of the song that you've got. As you can see at the moment, there's not a lot of information in here. We've got 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, which correspond to the 3 different channels which can basically make a sound at the same time. The song will progress from top to bottom, scrolled all the way down to FF from 0, 0. These numbers are in hexadecimal. You don't need to know what hexadecimal numbers actually correspond to in real money. You'll get the hang of it. It's a way of saving space. The other thing, which I have just disappeared for some reason, but we'll worry about that in a bit. Yep, no, there it is a little mini map down here which shows you where you are within the software. So in order to navigate around, we'll need the D-pad to move the cursor and adjust parameter values. We will need the B button here to create things, edit effectively, and the A button will also be coming into play. We'll also be using these buttons down at the bottom, be using the middle one in order to act as a sort of shift button, and this button down here is play, pause. Play and stop basically. And if you want to quit the program, you can hold shift and go down, and then there's quit ChipNomad down there as an option. Just click the B button and you'll be back at the front end, just so that you know. So we'll move around between pages, between the screens within this mini map by holding the shift button and pressing up or down or left or right. Up takes you to this project page, which you can see is marked by a little P on the screen. This is where you will name your song, put other details in there, generally manage it. And I assume, you can also adjust the tick rate, which I'm not going to go into, and that will affect beats per minute, which you might want to adjust, because otherwise you're stuck at 125 BPM, which is fine for this demo. So, what can we do? Well, we've got 3 channels and we've got nothing in it. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new chain. That's the next marker down in the system. So if I hold shift, I can now press right and I can jump into that chain which I've just created. If I tried doing that on an empty space, it can't go anywhere because there's no chain for you to dive into. I'll now dive into the chain by pressing shift and right. Now I can enter a new chain. Again, similarly, you can't dive into it if it doesn't exist. I've created 0, 0, 0, so we'll jump into there, and this is where we'll be entering our notes to create our music. So let's make a start. We'll create a new note entry. So we've got note C4, that's middle C. Hopefully the screen's not too blurry for you. If I hold the B button, we can adjust that up and down by pressing left and right, up a note, down a note, and up an octave and down an octave by pressing the up and down buttons. So we are using instrument 0, 0, and you will probably be able to hear if I press play that it makes no sound at all. And that's because we haven't specified an instrument to play this C note. So I'm going to press shift and press right, and then we're going to press right and then load, and we have a bass drum. Nice and straightforward start. Let's hop back in there, and now we should be able to hear the bass drum when I press start. Thump. Yeah, and I can add more in while it's playing, or otherwise when it's not, it doesn't really matter. There we go. So we've entered 4 bass drum hits, and they are all at velocity 0f, which means that's the loudest it'll be. We can adjust that down to make it a bit quieter, or keep it at full volume. Now, what would make it a bit limiting, because we've only got 3 channels to work with, is if you could only use 1 instrument per channel, but you can't. You can throw in as many as you want within reason, because it's not limited in that way. So let's also chuck in a new instrument. So I'm going to press the B button twice, and that'll iterate up to the next empty slot, basically, which is 0, 1 in this case. Press right to hop into there, press load, and let's have a clap. So there we go, we now have a clap. Let's have another clap there. Nope. There we go. Now one thing we can do is cut and paste. So if I press A and B together, I will actually cut that value, and then if I press B again, I can paste it there. And then if I paste it there, we've got more of it. You can also select larger areas by holding shift and pressing the A button once, and then expanding a sort of block of selection, which you can then cut and shift paste like that. I don't like that at all, so let's do tap, 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 cut, and paste. There we go. So we've created a rudimentary bass drum general percussion track. So we're going to hop back out to the song page, and we're going to create a new channel 2 chain, except I've put the same number in. That's 0, 0. So if we hop into it, we can see that's the exact same thing I created earlier. We don't want that, we want a bigger, different number. So we'll double tap and we get to chain 1. We'll create a new pattern, phrase, yep, in here. And this is where we can enter something else. Let's add a new instrument. Again, you can either press right until you get a new instrument, or you could just double tap to jump to the next empty slot. We will load a bass. There we go. And as you can hear, it's a bit high pitched for bass, so we'll drop it an octave. Let's have D3. Let's see what this sounds like. Pretty boring. So let's change that to there we go, that'll do for the moment. So we've created a new phrase. If we hop out again, we can hear both at the same time. We can also, if you're inside a chain or inside a phrase, you will only hear that specific channel unless you hold shift and play, in which case you'll hear everything that's lined up. So as you can see, the playhead will go from top to bottom. If I hop back out, and there's the copy and pasting thing is kind of universal. It's really, really useful and very quick as well once you get the hang of it. So if I hold shift and A, and then A again, we've copied the phrase. Now if I hold shift and B, I've now pasted it. And if I go copy, paste, we've now cloned that phrase. So inside phrase 001, we've got this sequence of notes. Inside phrase 002, we've got the same sequence of notes. But I can, this is a copy, but I can paste, I can change things. So if we want to change something, there we go. So now we've got two different phrases with slight variation on a theme. So let's have that. Let's copy and paste. So now we've got that twice. Got 4 phrases, each of which make up that one chain. On this channel, we've only got 1. So they mismatch, which will be a problem in terms of keeping the playhead consistent when you actually play the song. So to address that, what we're going to do is add phrase 00 a few more times, because let's see it. Let's change. Oh no, hang on a minute, I don't want to do that. So what I've just done there is mess up chain 000, because that was the original pattern I was mucking about with. What I'll actually do instead is copy and clone it, and then change this cloned version. So now we've got 2 different patterns. Like that. So I can now have that and that. And let's create a new chain. Let's have a new empty pattern like that. I'm going to put nothing in it at all. And then let's have another pattern, chain with a new phrase in it and a new instrument. Let's have a lead. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what that sounds like. Pretty awful. That's fine. And we will duplicate that. Just so we've got a starting point to work with. We will now go with I don't know. It's horrible. This is horrible. What am I even doing? I find composition on there can be a little bit difficult. It's a bit easier to just sort of play it with a keyboard as opposed to just composing stuff effectively on a spreadsheet like this. But if you have a bit of a plan, this is a perfectly cromulent way to do things. Let's just copy these anyway and work with that. Okay, so now we have a sequence running from top to bottom with the same information in rows 00 and 01 for channels 1 and 2. Channel 3 will do nothing, and then it will kick in with this disgusting lead line, which you are more than welcome to come up with a much better one for, because frankly this is garbage. Anyway, let's listen to what we've got from here. Yeah, there we go. So pretty awful, but it gives you an idea of what the structure of the system's like. You can really kind of go to town on it. This is a little bit limited versus some other trackers on the basis that you've only got the 3 channels to work with. There is a fairly small library at this point, at least, of instruments, and I believe that this will be expanded out to include basically emulated sound chips from a whole bunch of different systems. As to which ones are on the roadmap, no idea, sorry. But at the moment, it's still a pretty fun little chiptune machine. There are other trackers out there, like as the aforementioned, I think, LSDJ for Game Boy, which is the original tracker that this is derived from as far as the sort of setup goes. There's also the Dirtywave M8, which is amazing and uses a combination of sort of synthesizer engines and also sample management. There's also a cool sample-based tracker called Pico Tracker, which is also worth looking into. That's a lot cheaper than the M8, but primarily sample-based and quite a different workflow. But either way, trackers are fun. I've been enjoying getting to grips very, very badly with them, and occasionally making things that sound okay. And maybe you can make things that sound better than okay, maybe even good. But hopefully these will give you at least the tools to make a start and not find this interface as intimidating as it looks when you first start mucking about with it. There you go. Go forth and have fun, or don't. It's up to you.